Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. This week, we're doing something special. We are doing Observability Week, teamed up with New Relic. We're going to have the New Relic team on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week, and we were going to do a Thursday, but we're going to move that one a little bit later. So 4 total episodes of Observability, 3 of them happening this week, and we're going to start off today with Ptah Dunbar. How you doing?
How's it going? Doing well, thank
I'm
you.
super excited to have you. It's going to be a lot of fun today, I think. So before we start talking about what Observability Week is and what we're going to be talking about today, let's spend a little bit of time talking about you. So for folks who aren't familiar with you and your work, do you want to give us a bit of a background?
Sure. Yeah. I'm a pirate, as you can see. I've been sailing the seas for the high web seas for the past, let's say, 16 years. Starting with learning how to code with, customizing like MySpace pages, like before even web standards existed, like CSS 2.0. I was building table layouts and just sort of evolving every year, like learning a new language. I think I jumped over JavaScript and learned ActionScript 2.0
Hmm.
and just kept learning other languages, just kind of just building the kind of interactions and experiences that I was looking for. I try to do both design and development, but yeah, again, that's a lot to take on. So I focus more on the development side, and I got a name around contributing to WordPress.
Hmm.
So being a core contributor to WordPress and basically contributing to that whole ecosystem, running meetups and events for like 10 years. A lot of fun, a lot of fun.
Yeah, no kidding. And so now you're at New Relic. You're doing DevRel there, right?
Yeah, I've been with New Relic for the past 3 years,
Oh, nice.
basically since yeah, pandemic area. I kind of decided to like, yeah, let's take on a larger, um, sort of a larger ask. I primarily as a pirate been running my own show, but it's cool to work as a part of a larger organization and like understanding the challenges at scale and
Yeah. I
those
guess the
dynamics.
you know the pirate lifestyle is a solitary one. So
Yeah, well, it definitely gave me a lot of flexibility living across the world and like, living the life. People would say, "Oh, you just need a laptop and a internet connection. You could work anywhere." Well, I did that all my 20s. Like,
nice. I
did all
so
that.
did you do the full like kind of digital nomad thing like around the world?
Thailand, yep, did
Nice,
all that.
nice. I didn't know that. You and I have that in common. I did that for a couple years, 2014, 2015. I think, yeah, 22 years around then. I was fully remote. Me and my partner just like packed a suitcase and we lived in like short-term housing for 2 years.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it was
Very
super
cool.
fun. But yeah, okay. So let's talk a little bit about observability. So what we're doing this week is Observability Week, and the idea here is that we are going to dig into. I guess maybe the first thing we should start with is like why observability. This is a show where a lot of the folks here are working in the front end. They're working in web, and a lot of times when I hear about observability, what I think is that this is what somebody who worked as an SRE or in DevOps, more like way back end, would be thinking about and caring about. So why would we do a show on observability on Learn with Jason? It feels like it's maybe not a good audience match, but I don't know that I agree. So maybe the first question I'll ask you is, what is observability?
That's a that's a great question to start off with. It's sort of a secondary order effect of troubleshooting an application, right? You're looking to improve your application, you're looking to make it faster, make it better, all the things. And how do you actually go about doing it? You throw a bunch of console logs everywhere. you
Hmm.
and then potentially you deploy it. But now you have an application that, there are a lot of your like if you work as part of a larger organization, there's a lot of blind spots and they have no idea what's deployed, where things are located. And the idea about observability is to create signals that allow you to see your application from the outside just by through this sort of telemetry, which typically consists of metrics, events, traces, and logs, like things that your application's outputs. I want to understand the
Hmm.
behavior of my application. So that's kind of the observability, like on a practical sense.
And so like when we're talking observability, it can be anything that helps us get a better picture of what our application is doing. So it's not like a very prescriptive set of techniques as much as it is just trying to understand what's happening in your app. Is that kind of a correct understanding of the umbrella of observability?
Yeah, and so the practical sense of it is, yeah, let me understand what's going on in my application. But then there's always a higher order connections with that, because at the end of the day, we want to move, ideally with observability, you get data, and with data allows you to make decisions,
Hmm.
using that data versus like saying, oh, I think this, these REST endpoints or these APIs are super fast, but it may not be for someone across the region, right? So you can
Yeah,
really start using metrics and data to start just driving decisions, and that's kind of where you want to connect these telemetry signals like metrics, logs, traces to higher order business metrics, and that's where
gotcha.
things get really interesting. To where like
Yeah.
yeah.
And so we're going to be talking about this. I'm going to ask. I know we've got Matt and Daniel coming on tomorrow and Wednesday, and so I'm going to be asking them as well the same question, because I feel like it's one of those things that when you ask somebody what is observability, it's sort of like, what is life, what is meaning, because it has such a big umbrella, and where everybody focuses is always very interesting to see. But so today the project that we want to work on is going to be in React Native, right? And we're going to do that specifically with Expo. Is that right?
Yeah. So today, this episode is going to focus on getting observability in a mobile application, and so in this example, it's going to be using Expo
Great.
and the New Relic mobile SDK.
Yeah. And so for folks who aren't familiar, Expo is a sort of a framework for building React Native apps. It gives you a whole bunch of cool stuff that we'll look at when we actually start coding. We've had Brent, who's one of the creators, maintainers, I can't remember, Brent Vatney, has been on the show before. So if you're interested, you can actually look up that episode and get a little intro to Expo. Let me see if I can find the link here, actually. We're going to, there it is. Here's the episode with Brent. I'll drop this in the Twitch chat for everyone. That'll show up in the show notes as well. And okay, so when we're talking about observability, it's not tied to a specific stack. Like you can do, if you're working in React Native, in front end web JavaScript, if you're working in PHP, if you're working in Ruby, you're working in C, it doesn't matter. You can set up observability within your apps, right?
That's correct. Yeah, it's still a young the idea of observability, and organizations having people who primarily focus on that. It's still a young discipline
Hmm.
in that regard. But yes, it works across any language.
Yeah, and the intention here, if I'm understanding correctly, is like, if it was me on my own, unassisted today, I'm going to set up a React Native app. I'm going to read some tutorials. I'm going to probably use Expo, and when I run into a problem, I'm going to console log what comes into my function, and I'm going to look at that output, and then I'm going to say, oh, it broke. And then once I get through the point where it's actually all working, I'm going to ship that to production, and my users are going to tell me, hey, this thing broke. And then I'm going to say, what did you do to make it break? And they're going to try to explain, or they won't. And then I'm going to try to recreate their scenario, and I'm going to console log it, and I'm going to fix the problem, and then I'm going to ship to production again. Right. And so this is very obviously, like, there's a lot of inefficiency in this process. You're adding console logs that you need to remember to take back out before you put them into production, because otherwise you're going to be kind of like, people can open up their console and see you going like, we got here, we got here, which is not always great when you open a production website and you see a bunch of the logs didn't get taken out. But also the other piece of it is that requires me to have a huge amount of context and to remember, like, what did I do last time? Oh, how did I fix that thing last time? And so my goal here, and what we're talking about with observability, is that if I do the same kind of thing that I would do with console log, but I do it with something structured, then I'm able to kind of send those logs to a central place, and I can start to see output over time, where if I get an error, I can see a dashboard that says like, hey, your real users got this error a bunch, and you should probably fix that. or, you know, things like that, that let me get not, it doesn't have to be active feedback from my users. It can just be passively, they use the app and a thing went wrong and I get alerted about it. I know that something broke, right? And that's kind of the goal. And historically, whenever I've thought about it, I'm like, yeah, that would be great, but it sounds hard, so I'm not going to do it.
Well, and the thing is, like observability, this concept, it compounds when you're working as part of a larger team with multiple stakeholders, possibly with stakeholders who don't even know how to code, who can't really
Mm,
pull up a console log or know what a SSH or log into a box and understand how to troubleshoot that. Like that's kind of where you want to basically capture all this telemetry data, store it somewhere, and then query it so that way you can reproduce the situation or have a first responder at least capture some of that information. And again, perhaps even start standardizing across multiple teams around, all right, what does our latency look like? And how
mm.
can we really optimize those queries, for example?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, then I think maybe the best way to go further from here, because all the rest of my questions are going to be how, is for us to just flip over and show it. So I'm going to rearrange my window a little bit and then take us over into pair programming view. And we will start by just doing a big old shout out to New Relic, who is the sponsor of this series, Observability Week. I don't know why this window is so tiny, but so here is the New Relic site. Let me throw a link to that up into the chat. And while we're talking about the sponsors, we also have live captioning going in the show. As always, we have Maggie here with us today from Whitecoat Captioning. Thank you so much. That is available through the closed captioning button right there on your video player or in a window on the homepage of learnwithjason.dev. And in addition to New Relic, we've got Netlify, NX, and Pluralsight all kicking in to make that captioning possible and to, you know, power the rest of the show. Okay, so that's about the extent of what I know here. So what should my first step be if we're going to build a React Native app?
Yeah, so to get started, I'll definitely recommend making sure that you have a New Relic account. We
I
want
do
to
have a New Relic account.
go ahead and log in and grab your API key. I'll tell you where that's located.
Okay. All right, I'm in.
All right, so you want to see your username at the bottom left corner. I'll
Uh-huh.
click on that and then click on API keys.
Okay, do I need to pull this off screen before I click this, or is it going to be
You
masked
could
when I
you
open
could
it?
click Yeah, it's
Okay.
gonna be mass. So you see those three little dots next to the ingest license.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and yeah. So to the right, the last three, the little
These
tilde.
ones. These ones.
Yeah. Go ahead and click that, and you can copy key and copy that
Okay.
off screen.
Should I create a new one for this?
Yeah, let's create a new one, and we're gonna create this. Yeah, so we'll create a user key.
Okay.
Yep, and just call it React Native. Yeah. Boom.
Okay, just to make sure I can remember what I did this for. And then this was created. Okay. And then this is going to show me the key when I click create a key, right?
Do that off screen.
Yeah, I'm going to pull this off screen when I
just
click
in
create a
case.
key. Okay. My new key is ready. And I have it. Let's see, I'm going to pull this back over. So this is the one that we just created. And I'm
Great, and then
going to copy the key.
awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
So go ahead and did you clone the repo?
I have not cloned the repo yet.
Okay.
I can do that.
So yeah, so we're gonna come back to this. Let's go back to your terminal and clone the repo.
Okay. So terminal here. I'm going to grab this this repo that you just sent me. We're going to git clone there. And then we'll go into React Native. I'm going to
Do a little ls there. All right, cool. So run a make command. Just make, yeah, boom.
that might be a first. I think this might be the first time that I've ever run a make command on
And it
Learn with
worked.
Jason.
And it worked. Look at that.
Which
No
is
craziness.
yeah, that is great. You were like run make, and I was like, oh god, do I have make installed?
That's how far back we go. So yeah, so you see those two environment environment files. You're
Mhm.
gonna want to open those example ones.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can go ahead and check that out. So you have an apps folder, and it looks like you have two folders here. One's called Express, and the other one's called Expo.
Okay. And so
So
both of them here have the examples.
yes, so you want to use the env that was just created.
Got it. Okay. So I'm going to pull this off screen and drop. So let's talk about what each of these are, because I don't think I have some of these. So looking at this, the API key I just made. So I know what that one is.
Yes.
What's my
Yes, but you
license
want to.
key?
Okay, so the license key is going to be used. So in this case, this is the Expo app. Yeah. So the license key is actually going to be, one is for the agent SDK itself,
Mhm.
and then another one is going to be for actually setting logs from the mobile app to New Relic. You see that first line there, it says the logs URL. And so there's two, that's the first key you actually just copied over.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to go back to New Relic and
this will
grab
be
the
the
other
first
key as
one,
well.
and then I'll have to go generate the second one.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm pulling this off screen.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab my API key and put it into the .env, not the example. Okay. And then
Yeah, so that'll be the first key that you have. Yeah, that first API key. Perfect.
All right. And then if I want to create do I need to create the license key now, or are we going to do that later?
Yeah, let's go do that now. So you see on the left where it says add data, all the way to the left. Yeah, top.
Add data.
Up. Add data. Search for iOS. And let's go find iOS. Did it remove the S? Yeah.
There. Oh, there it is. It just didn't refresh for some reason. Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead and click on that. Give your app a name. That's fine.
Give my app a name, and this is going to be. Okay.
So skip all these instructions. You just want to. Well, it's going to show off screen. Hold on. So it's going to show your key. Okay. So grab that off screen.
Okay. Going on down. Integrate. Okay, so it shows me that this is the application token.
Correct, and that is going to go where it says license key. Does it end in .nrma?
NRMA.
Dash.
I see that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's going to go where the license key value is.
Okay.
All right, great. And then we're going to do the same thing again. Let's go back to New Relic. Add more data.
Okay, so I'm closing this window.
Yeah.
And I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then do a search for node.
Node.
Yeah, click on that. Node. Yep. Package manager is fine. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, give it a name. Yeah, API. Yeah.
API. Okay.
Yeah. And that's also don't scroll down.
Okay. And this one's gonna go in my Express app.
Correct. That's gonna go in your Express app.env.
Got it. There's my license key. So I'm going into the Express app now, putting in the license key, and then I have an NRIA license key.
It's the same value.
Same value for both. And then is that the same for, there's an OpenAI API key?
I just dropped that. for you in a
Oh, I
chat.
gotcha. And then
Yeah.
there's another one for replicate API.
Yep. I'm gonna have some fun with those.
Okay, so closing down the .env files.
So right now
Okay.
your Express app should be 8 lines long, full of goodness, and
8 lines.
this
Yep, 8 lines there. Each one has a value.
and Expo is 3 lines.
3 lines. Each one has a value. Okay, pulling this back across. We're ready
Whew.
for business. I'm gonna let me get down to here. I'm gonna continue so that there's nothing on the screen. Continue again. And all right. So this puts me, I've basically just gone through the installation. We haven't tested the connection because we haven't turned anything on yet, but I have my env file set up. So these are both loaded up with values. These are the examples. So those values are set, and then here we've got these values set again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet. All right. So let's actually go back to the main folder, terminal.
Back to my terminal.
Yeah. And go ahead and run make API.
Okay.
See what happens there. Oh, there we go.
Let me see if I have, is Docker on?
Oops. Yeah. That'll definitely help. Those hidden dependencies, I tell you.
I think I use Docker like once a year, always for an episode. So I usually don't have it running.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're good, I think.
All right, so go back and rerun that make command.
Try again.
Oh,
Let's see. Unknown description failed to solve with front end Docker file, failed to read Docker file.
right.
Something about am I missing, like, do I have to do a Docker prep or something? Like, is there anything in here that would be?
You know that actually, so is there a Docker file in there?
Is there a Docker file in here? That's a great question.
That's the first step.
I have a Docker compose.
Yeah.
I don't see an
So
actual Docker file.
that is funny. All right, so first bug. Drop that over here. Yeah. So go ahead and drop this in the go ahead and drop that in the Express folder.
Okay, so I am copying this file here. I'm going to create in Express a Docker file, right?
Yeah.
Is there an extension on a Docker file?
No, just that.
And is it capital or?
Yep. That's
Okay.
perfect.
All right.
Drop. So here you'll see we're just we're installing the new Relic infrastructure agent. Again, that's optional. And then we're installing the CLI, again, another optional thing just to have some cool commands for creating deployment markers.
Mm-hmm.
But it really starts on line 7. It just basically creates a node environment for you to run the backend.
Got it. Cool.
Now,
Okay, so then it's going to install node and npm, sets up our work directory to be Express, and then copies.
Take out lines 13 and 14. You don't need those.
Okay.
Yeah, just drop that. And then run. Go ahead and run make API.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, look at that. We got data.
We got data. So by the end of this, we should have a running server running on localhost port 3000.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
And while you're at it, pull up your network settings so we can get your local IP. Yeah.
Oops, that's the wrong one. Network. Oh, that's not it. Where did here it is. Okay.
Oh, that's new. There's there we go, network. It does not show your IP here.
Should be in here somewhere.
Details.
Details. IP
Boom, right
address.
there at 192. You copy that if you can.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Okay, what's going on here? Exit code 17.
npm CI command can only install with an existing package lock JSON. So I
Well,
need
yeah,
to.
that'll help if we run npm install in the Express folder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Express. Where am I?
Apps, CD
CD
apps, Express. Yeah.
Okay. npm install.
And rerun that build, and that should get that kicked off correctly.
Okay. Oh boy. Still getting used to this keyboard.
Oh, you've got the new use.
I got one of these what's it called? An ergodox. It's
Ergodox.
like a split keyboard and the thumb keys and stuff, and it's great. I actually love it. My wrists feel way better, but I still don't know where any of the buttons are. Let's see. Failed to create shim task. OCI runtime create failed. Run C create failed.
Yeah, so now it's complaining about those entry points. So let's go back to that Docker file. We're going to get here. Entry point is there.
Oh, it's trying to do this entry point, and we deleted that entry point.
And I was like, yep, we don't need that when we actually do.
Should I get rid of the make request one?
Yeah, get rid of that one. Did we not delete this before?
We did. I just did a command Z.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna need this. So what you're missing now is the actual entry point file. So let me see if I can get that for you.
Okay. We are cruising right along here.
Yeah.
And this is great. This episode is great because this episode, like a lot of times on the show, I have never used the tech before, but I'm like sort of in my wheelhouse. This is an episode where I have no idea what's going on. Like I don't use Docker. I don't write React Native. I don't know observability. So I am very much at sea right now. So I'm glad I'm with a pirate.
Our matey. I got your little, all right. So I got your entry point. I'll just drop it in Zoom with the raw file in there. Yeah, it's fairly straightforward. So just save that value as entry point.
Okay. So I'm putting that in.
You can put it in the express root directory and then modify line 13. Yeah.
Express root directory. Got it.
Yeah, right there.
And we're gonna
entry
call
point
it entry
point.
Point.sh. Okay. Is a piece of it missing, or is it supposed to end with an and like that?
Yes, I want to say yes, because that keeps it running. So, but yeah, let's go back to the Docker file. Update.
So we don't need this then.
We do, but let's remove the Docker part because it's not in a subfolder. Yeah.
Like that?
And take away the /.
Oops.
Yeah. Boom, right there.
Oh my God, stop opening. There we go. Okay.
Save. Make API. Should be that simple. Yes.
Okay, here we go. This is it. This is the one. It's happening.
This is it.
Okay, we're so close. We're so close. Let's see. Failed to create a shim task. Permission denied, right? Because we didn't run the chmod.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
On Express.
Entry point.
Apps.
Yeah. Apps Express.
Entry point.
Docker file should have did that though.
Okay, and then does that? Let's see, is that the one? And then we go apps Express, entry point. What's the one where you get all the details?
Uh, LL probably. L. Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
755. Okay, yeah, all right. So we should be good now. So this time.
Okay,
Oh, what
so
am I
and
doing?
now I'm questioning the ampersand, but go ahead. Because if you go back to the Docker file, we've got the chmod there, the reset permissions. So
We do have the chmod.
but maybe it just needs to be extra special today.
Let's
All right,
see.
so it exited.
Exited with
Go
code
ahead and
0.
yeah, so it shouldn't exit. Go back to remove that ampersand. Something. Yeah, take that out.
Okay.
I'm so glad that I have the build here, so that way it avoids the cache. Running this a lot.
Okay.
All right.
Missing script dev.
Now change that to start.
Okay. All right. We're getting here. This is it. This is
Oh
the
my
one.
gosh.
And hello in the chat. What's up, Tatanka? We doing it?
I believe
things
in
are happening.
That's good.
Okay.
All right.
Are we in business?
We are in business. So if we go to localhost, check out your browser.
3000.
Yep. Yes.
All right. We got ourselves a hello world running in Express on Docker. And I used a dang make file today, everyone.
And so you should see that populate in New Relic as well.
Cool. All right.
So
Let's
if you
go to
go
New
back
Relic.
to that screen.
Wait, this is New Relic. Okay.
Test
Am I
connection.
testing my connection?
And wow.
Okay.
All right, do that thing. All right. Maybe just hit the localhost one more time, just to wake it up. Yeah. Cool. And then I sent you another text for the React Native agent.
Okay.
So go ahead and navigate to the expo directory and npm install.
Okay. I'm going to keep that one running, I assume, right?
Yeah, keep that running. Yep.
Okay. And I want to install New Relic React Native agent.
That's correct.
All right. Here we go. Okay. Is it possible that I screwed something up here?
So if we go back to the environment variable. Well, let's so the environment variables are there. Let's just go to, you see on New Relic, click on APM. Just humor me. APM and services and navigation there. Yeah. Boom. There it is. Yeah. It's UI. It's there.
It is working.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right. So
yeah,
we got
so
data.
It's capturing it. We got data coming in. Nice. So now we have our backend instrumented successfully. Let's go ahead and instrument the mobile app.
Okay. So I've run my install.
Yeah. Okay, so you ran the install. Let's go back to VS Code.
VS Code, here we go.
Yeah. And you're going to want to add that plugin. So because we're using Expo, this is a managed Expo project. Let's go ahead and open up the app.json.
App.json here.
Yeah. So you should see that Expo section there. Okay, great. Go ahead and add this to the expo.
All right, so I am setting up a new plugin. So there's going to be a
Yes,
plugins key.
correct.
Oops.
Boom.
And we add in that new Relic native agent or new Relic React Native agent that we installed. Okay, so this is telling Expo when you load to
Include us.
right. Got it. And the Expo plugin system, like there's tons of them, and so this is just a really nice way to not have to do any of the wiring up work ourselves, right?
Exactly. So if you go to the package.json file there should be a command for you to run the clean pre-build. Yeah, go ahead and run
Okay.
that npm run pre-build. And this will just kind of like reconfigure the build to let it know that, hey, we're going to install our SDK is it has some native bindings, and it just needs to tell Expo to say,
Okay.
hey,
Should I
let's
just use the
include that.
defaults here?
Yeah, defaults are fine.
Okay.
Yeah, anonymous. Yeah, so it's using the config plugin to run through, do all the pod installs, and build install. Let's just ignore that.
Yeah, I don't have
It's gonna
CocoaPod
keep running. It's gonna
CLI.
keep going.
You know, if that error doesn't cause anything to break, I'm gonna live with that error.
But this is good. This is showing me that it's definitely resetting the game. So what you're gonna see is that the it's gonna show you the Android folder and the iOS folder now. That was it's previously tucked under the hood.
Mm-hmm.
You can ignore those folders for now. It's a managed Expo project, so this is just waking it up.
Okay.
And
And
then from here, you'll run npm run iOS.
got it.
And it's doing all the work for you behind the scenes.
I do like it when the computers do all the work. Okay, so something went wrong. This is the CocoaPod CLI.
All right, so it doesn't like CocoaPods. All right, go ahead and run npx pod install.
Oh, like
Dash
that?
probably. Yeah. Guess it's having a problem with that.
Couldn't install pods.
Let's see.
Invalid pod file. The heck is a pod file?
A pod file is the Ruby gem file that has all the dependencies. And why it's complaining? This is how do mobile development.
Undefined method exists. I bet I'm using.
Oh, what version of Ruby do you have?
Let's see.
Ruby-V.
2.6.
That should be good. I have 2.7.
Do you think maybe this exist method got added in 2.7?
Wait a minute. That's way too convenient.
Because it looks like this to me looks like something that is like the language is adding a thing. Because that like this looks like an error when you use an unsupported JavaScript feature and you have to like update your node version or something.
What was your version again?
2.6 with a
10.
Whatever.
Okay. Yeah, React Native's 2.68, so you should have the minimum. And you ran through the Xcode command line install. You should already have that, right? Yeah.
Wait, what is
Xcode?
Xcode select, right?
Yeah.
Xcode select version.
Wow, this is gonna take me for a swim. All right.
And we just installed this like last week
Yeah. So navigate to the iOS folder and in on the terminal.
in the terminal.
Yeah. And go ahead and run bundle install. See if that'll work. Space. Yeah.
Could not
Not
locate
located
gem
gem
file.
file, but it's a pod file. Okay. All right. So bundle exec pod install. No dash.
Oh,
Oh.
it does not like something. This is my nightmare because I don't write Ruby. I have no idea how to even begin debugging this.
Yeah. No, well, this is definitely this. So mobile development takes you down a rabbit hole, I have to say. And one of the things, if we can do this.
So was it in here that we had the exists?
Yeah,
No, it's not even in this file. It's like in a sub file.
it's like a dependency.
Something. So I don't know how to. Like if it was JavaScript, I would just go and edit the file to get rid of the exists.
Let's nuke node modules and run a pre-build one more time. Yeah,
Like the node modules in here.
correct.
Okay. And then try again.
And then try the pre-build. Try the pre-build again.
Run pre-build.
Yeah. Yes.
Your working tree is dirty. Don't judge my housekeeping.
Don't judge. Just so this part here couldn't scroll back up. Invalid pods.
Oh, Veranos in the chat is saying that we should run bundle and knit. Something went wrong. Invalid pod file. RN gesture handler is using something that we don't have support for. So this feels very much like a. I'm just gonna.
It's got to be a Ruby version. I have to.
Yeah. Oops.
Little side quest. All right.
What? Okay, so that's.
I'm gonna drop this in here, but it might help to if we can get another version of Ruby on.
Okay.
Just drop that in here. That's gonna install RVM, Ruby version manager. It's such a side quest. Like I remember starting off again in web development and wanting to have full control over what gets displayed on the page. So that's why I switched over to Flash. But then you had to recreate the navigation and basic intuitions for accessing a site or an application here. Yeah, go ahead and run that too. And so did the whole web journey. Then I finally jumped into mobile because why not? And it's just a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah. Okay, so I checked. I have this key. I got the key. What do you want from me? Key server receive failed. Server indicated a failure. My dude.
Oh, here. Yeah. Run this.
Run this one?
No, the one I sent you in the
here.
chat.
Okay. Okay. Let me try it again. This one?
Yep. Yep.
Installing
Okay.
RVM. Hey.
All right. I love these Ruby gems. Gotta get these gems. There we go. All right. And maybe we could switch while that's going in the background, we can kind of talk about the structure of the apps, what we just downloaded.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
So the backend is fairly simple if we want to start with Express.
All right. I'm in Express. We've got
Yeah.
index.
Yeah. There's an index file. So I've got some endpoints. The main one on line 22, it's basically loading the main route. I got some artificial load there just to kind of simulate slowness.
Mm-hmm.
But it's eventually going to respond with the hello world. Then I have a predictions endpoint, and that's going to do some interesting stuff there. So it's basically going to send a payload to Replicate, and Replicate is a service to basically generate images from text.
Okay.
So that has a follow-up route because once you run a prediction, it takes a minute. And so this is a great example for simulating latency. So this line 66 is basically taking that initial request and actually getting the image.
Okay.
It's kind of like a service worker type deal. So keep scrolling down. So it's doing a bunch of routes there. So right there, the last route is 89 is sort of OpenAI. So here it's checking to make sure you got the right API key. And then it's going to take in a prompt and respond with auto completion.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
And it's going to use the DaVinci basically GPT generally pre-trained model transformer to basically the same thing that you would use for ChatGPT or GPT-3 2.5, one of those. So it's basically just going to use the API version of that and allow us to use it within our mobile application.
Cool. Okay. All right. I got you. So that's our API, and then
yeah, that's our backend.
the mobile app consumes this.
Yes. So the mobile app, everything is inside of the app folder. So this is using the new Express router, which is a file-based router.
Okay.
So you can see here some exercises there. When you click on, let's click on OpenAI, for example.
Okay.
So you see that to do there on line 18, we're gonna basically handle that's kind of some an exercise there where we can basically add an input and take the text input and post it to the backend, right? So
okay.
Using a fetch, and then we'll take the response and return it back to the interface. Oh, great.
Okay, so that's installed. We wanted to run npm run pre-build. Is that right?
One moment now. So I don't know if that'll work just yet.
Okay.
You see that source RVM? Go ahead and do that.
Wait, hold on. Source.
And then, yeah, you're yep.
RVM.
It's got a blitz. Yep. Oh, that's it. Yep. Scripts RVM.
Scripts RVM. Okay.
Okay, so now type RVM.
RVM, just RVM?
Yeah. Go ahead and type RVM install 2.7.
Okay. Wait. Are we in 3.0 now? This is reporting like version 3.0. Now we're version 3.0. Yeah. Should we try that?
Well, let's try this. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the pre-build
command? Going way off. But yeah. npm run pre-build. I like to stick within the twos, but we'll see.
Anything gonna do?
That's good.
All right, Cocoa Pods, do it. Do it this time.
Give me some gems.
this. Like I need tense music.
Yeah. Where's that
Oh
background
man,
music?
I have the music is not the right music, but I
Do you
do
listen to
have
Black
the
Coffee?
ability to like put some music through. Just need
Yeah,
I need exciting music.
I got you. Put some Black Coffee on here.
Oh no, we can't do any unlicensed or
Oh,
any music that we need a license to, or else they'll mute the audio when we put it on YouTube. I'll
I'm
have to
literally
look
sorry.
on. I've got an Epidemic Sound account, and I'll have to go look and see if I can find some for my pads for like different moods.
We can make our own beats. That's not a problem.
Yeah, there we go. Um, well, it's doing a lot more than it did last time, so
I
fingers
like
crossed
green.
it's gotten beyond the like gem file piece.
Yeah, I like green. Green is good.
Oh, it installed the CocoaPod CLI. Hey, we got one step further than last time.
That's
Whew.
mobile
Okay, it's
development.
gonna work.
It's so interesting. Like once you get over these hurdles, like then it's like, all right, compared to a web developer, it's like, all right, well, how do you build what's differently? Like how do you build differently? Well, navigation is different.
Mm-hmm.
You want to add animations more so than the web. So it's like the experience, you don't want to have a mobile app that's just static. It just has forms and inputs. It's not fun to fill out. You want it to like float around and be like really interesting. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I have native Win and Tailwind installed in there as well, just to kind of help with that. Oh, we're good. We're
Look what
good.
happened. The thing did the thing, and now it's all okay. All right. Okay, this is
NPM
now
run
we get a
iOS.
speed run this though, because we got like
Oh
32 minutes left.
yeah. Let's navigate to let's NPM run iOS.
NPM run iOS.
Yeah, we can just do one of the exercises.
All right, let's do the thing. Here we go. We're going in. We got Expo is firing up, and Expo, if I remember correctly, is going to like open up the emulator so that I have a like a little phone screen on my computer.
Yep. Yep. Oh yeah, it's gonna show you a little QR code thing. So you can actually pull it up on your phone too while you develop.
Also very cool. Okay, so
So
that's
yeah,
a
so
warning.
this is the config plugin action happening behind the scenes,
Okay.
basically rejigging Expo to incorporate the new Relic SDK. And so it's just like, yep, let me recompile the whole thing.
Okay.
So that's cool. So this is good. We are in Jolly territory. Okay.
The chat's having good ideas about how we could play with music and memes. I used to have a bunch of commands so that people could make noise on the stream, and then when I rebuilt my scenes, I didn't have time to put them back in, so they've been dead for a while. Really want to bring them back.
Okay. All right, just 20 more minutes. Jeez. This,
Oh,
looks like it's about to wrap up here on
come
this
on, do the
compiling.
thing.
Yep.
Oh, please work first try. Okay, all right, good. Okay, so
Yes.
we're good. I want to open an iOS simulator, so I'm gonna hit I, and I could scan this QR code if I wanted to
Yeah,
look
if
at
you
it on my
wanted
phone,
to,
but
but
I'm not configured to like show my phone on
that's
screen
fine.
without like
Yeah.
holding it up here. So
No, we don't have to do that right now.
I do have intentions of getting like an overhead camera so that we can do the like phone on the mat kind of demo stuff, but I don't do enough mobile development. Like I almost never need my phone to be visible.
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
but I got another one coming up. I think in a couple weeks here, I'm doing one with Retool where we're going to build an internal native app.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to make it work. Okay, so we've got our emulator is open, and we have. I love that you gave it a pirate patch. That is incredible.
It is working.
All right. Okay, so we did a thing. We've got here's our app. What are you fighting with me about?
No,
The
this is good.
window, oh,
Why
VS
did it
Code,
crash?
VS Code got grumpy, but
Oh,
that's okay because we don't care.
okay.
We're not worried about
Yeah.
VS Code right now. We're worried about this IS emulator.
Go ahead and press R.
Go ahead and press R.
Yeah.
Wait, oh no, how do I go back?
Right. Yeah. So you can do command. Yeah, there you go. So R just kind of refreshes that animation. I just wanted to see that again.
How do I,
All right.
what do
So
I,
this screen
oh,
is,
here's it. Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So this screen is because Expo Router works based on file-based routing.
Mm-hmm.
And I intentionally did not add a index.js file. So you can kind of, I like this view. We can kind of jump around and see the different, you know, routes that are in the folder here.
Gotcha.
And so let's jump into the first exercise. Hello.
All right, we're
Noise.
in.
We're in. So action, go back. Yeah, we'll ignore that action. Yeah. So we see the hello world here. And if we open up the exercise, actually, do you have, so you have the terminal window open too, so you can see the console log, right? Yeah. Let's see if we can get that showing.
Oh yeah, why don't we, let's see. How can
Is
I,
that
we'll
fine?
play a little Tetris here. I'm gonna
Yeah,
take this one and we'll put it down here.
there you
And then
go.
we'll take this and we'll move it up here. And that should give us, I was gonna put it in here, but I don't want to wait for it to boot again. So we're putting the terminal down low. We've got the code up here and I'm ready. So let me open up exercise hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on line 8,
Line 8.
so it says fix the re-render issue in this component. And so if you press the app, if you click on add foo or add bar, you're going to see the log essentially re-render both components. And that's not cool.
Gotcha.
So if we scroll down here, we can see that on 27, 28, they start off with the same state.
Mm-hmm.
And then you scroll down some more. And then it's basically using the same component, right? Line 42 and 44,
Mm-hmm.
but using different values. And so technically they should be different. And if you update one, it should only re-render that one and not the whole tree.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do we avoid that? That's the exercise for this one.
Okay. In the interest of time, I'm going to have you jump to telling me what to do so that we can get
Yep.
through one of the next ones.
Yeah. So the way we skip this is let's go ahead and use memo. So at the
Okay.
top of the imports, I believe it's from React. Yeah. So add memo there.
Okay.
And just add memo, not even use memo.
Oh, just memo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's just do memo for now. And then for line 9, go ahead and wrap that whole component with memo. Yep. Boom.
Okay. And now here I add, and it's just the one. Cool.
Perfect.
Very cool.
And so again, yeah, this is a common performance glitch that I see in mobile applications. Like, and again, yeah. So that's kind of basically solving it with using memo to basically cache the value.
So we're logging this very much in the way that I would expect to log, like we're using straight up console logs. So are these showing up in New Relic somewhere as well?
Yeah, they can't. So there's a folder in there called components. So actually, if we go, yeah, so we have an analytics component and a logger component. Let's check that out.
Okay.
All right, so this logger component, so natively, the SDK doesn't really send the actual console logs to New Relic, but we can actually support that by actually just sending it using the logs API. So actually sending it. If we want to go add that to the exercise file, we can go ahead and import this logger.
Okay, so I go here, and then I'm going to
go ahead and import logger.
And is it the default or a named?
It's the default.
Import logger from logger.
Nice.
Okay.
And then swap that console log with swap this console with logger. Yeah. Boom.
Okay.
Save.
And is that all of them? That's the only one?
I believe that's the only one there.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Logger default log is not a function. Wait,
I think it's change log to info.
Logger.
Yeah. So it creates a logger and then it returns it. But instead
it
of
needs to be info, not log.
I gotcha. Yeah. It's got all the. There we go. I love that.
All right. So here we go. We add, and so now it's not logging in the console anymore, and it's logging in New Relic?
Correct. And we can actually check that out.
Okay, so back here.
Yeah.
Things are happening. We can see here's our stuff going on.
Our backend API. So let's actually go to mobile. It's on the left. You'll see a little mobile tab there.
Got it. There's our app.
Nice. All right. And so at the bottom, so again, it doesn't have logs built in, but what you do have is the bottom of this. Oh, so click on your profile username at the bottom left. Yeah. And it says show NR console, NRQL console, show. Yep. Yeah. And then do a search there from log.
Okay.
Select all. Star. Yeah.
Why did that not work?
Select star.
Select star.
Yeah. It's a little bit like SQL. Scroll over to the right. Yeah, you'll see it. Boom. So here we can see these are logs coming from the backend, but we can also see select add another query there. Where source. Yep. Tab equals. And so logs APM. So it hasn't picked it up yet, but you'll see it should. Let's see here. It should be API.logs. So yeah, give it a second, but yeah, it'll show up in here. API dot. It's a string value.
Should I refresh the page, or should I actually just try it like API.logs?
Yeah. Yeah. Lowercase logs. And then let's go back to the app because actually it should still show you the logs printed there. So we've got it imported. Let's reload the app just to make sure. Yeah.
Okay, here.
Exercise.
Okay, maybe I'm doing something wrong here. I've got my logger.
Yeah.
And logger, create logger. We're sending this. And then we console. Wait, we don't console log. Oh, no, it should say here that we console log. So something is failing.
Yeah, something is failing. And I'm wondering if it's getting those values from the environment correctly.
We're not using our New Relic API key. Do I need to?
Yeah, swap that out actually. Yep.
Okay.
And then check your Babel as well, Babel RC file, just because that environment file gets picked up from the Babel. So yeah, we see the .env there, so that's good. So that means that it's registering it correctly.
Okay.
There's also.
And this doesn't have like, does this have autocomplete? Like if I logger dot
warn, it should have like a .warn .error.
Yeah, something feels like this is giving us something else.
Let me see your Babel config just one more time. Yeah, so 1, 2, yeah, same. Okay, that looks good. App package.
Is there a way to because I'm somewhat convinced
Let's
that
just
this
console log the logger itself.
I don't think this okay, so that is
Oh, there it
running.
is. There it
So it's
is.
doing a
Okay.
thing, but it's not getting past here. So now this is how I debug. I just start putting stuff here,
Yep. Yeah. So it
right?
is.
Okay, so
Huh.
that's still doing a thing. So then we throw it down here and it doesn't do this part. See, so
That
it is failing to get through
log the
here.
catch. Log that catch error. Like, yeah, throw a console log there. That's gonna tell you something. Boom.
Network
Network's
response was not
not okay.
okay.
That means
Okay.
I'm really thinking that it's not picking up that environment variable.
Okay.
Okay, do a console log on the URL. That'll tell us. On
Console
line
log
13.
on this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. See if it actually prints that. Because if we can get that, then it can get everything else. Okay, so it's
Okay.
getting that. All right.
That has me wondering if I have the wrong API key.
Ooh, we might need to swap them.
Okay.
All right.
So I'll tell you what, I'm going to roll this API key, but in the interest of time, you tell me which one I need. So I'm going to go to here. I'm going to go to API keys. I'm going to look at my, this is the one that I created.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then what I did was I copied the key.
Yes.
Right?
That's correct.
And then when I took that key, I put it in, I'm going to use the example. I put it here. And so I put it here. And that's the right one?
That is the right one. Yes, because that's the one being used in that file.
Okay, let me pull this off screen and just double check one
Yeah.
more time that that is in fact what I've done. And it starts with NRAK.
No, it should end. It should end with NRIL.
Okay, so then I'm getting the wrong thing because this
NRIK.
one,
I see that. Yeah, I see. I see. Try, just for kicks, just try the one right above it.
the ingest license.
Yeah, yeah.
This one ends in NRAL.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay,
Huh.
so I am reloading now.
It's still not happy with.
Still not happy with that key. Which one is this? This is Node.js. Do I need to create an agent license key for my Expo?
No, no, that should be fine. Let's. Okay.
Like, is there a different kind of key that I can make?
Let's see here. I'm running the same repo, and yeah, no, it's just the user. It should be your user key.
And the user key is the one that for me is starting with NRAK.
Yeah, and then mine, it's interesting because my user key starts with a letter E9, kind of like
It's like a hash.
Yeah, it's like a hash, but it ends in a NRAL. So it's like okay, look at the bottom the one right below that one. So that license key, try that one.
So this
Does
one I
that
think
end
is
in
for a
that?
different app.
Yeah.
I'll let me copy it.
Just see if it ends in NRAL.
That one ends in NRAL. And like just for fun, let's try it and see if it makes a difference. Like maybe I need to just stop and restart because it's
it's an environment variable. Yeah. So it won't pick it up immediately.
Okay. Let's see if maybe it'll just grab that.
Whoa. Okay. I was gonna say you didn't need to do the whole pre-build again. Just
I didn't do the whole pre-build. Yeah, I just did the but it still doesn't like that one. Yeah, it's fighting us.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So we'll get back to that. Like we're just I'm gonna drop this in the interest of time.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and check out the Stable Diffusion example.
All right, so we're going into Stable Diffusion. Got my... Oh, I moved this over here. Let me get the n.env closed. We're moving back over here. And I'm going to open up the exercise Stable Diffusion.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay, so here, if we can minimize the right hand, just to we word wrap as well. Okay, so you see those? Yeah, nice. All right, line 18. Swap out that IP address with yours.
Okay, swap out this IP address with mine.
Do a search. Yeah, do a search because there's two of them.
Okay. Oops. So, oh God. Okay. So I'm going to open up network again. And I'm going to grab my
Details.
IP address. Okay.
192.1.1.192. So the first two, yeah. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Nice.
Okay.
And that's where both of them?
I replaced everything in this file.
Okay, great. Okay, great. All right. So now let's scroll down here. So this is the actual submit logic. Oh, we don't have to write all that, right? That's already there. But scroll down and basically, this is the part where I just sent you a chat.
Okay.
We're going to add an input field and a button that actually triggers the logic.
Okay. And I'm replacing all of that with the code you just sent me, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So we've got a text input. We've got a button. And this is going to, if I go back and go to Stable Diffusion, we can dream something with Stable Diffusion.
Yep. So there's already a pre-configured text there. Go ahead and click generate.
And we're processing.
And if you look at the route request, you'll see how we're using the new Relic API to actually capture, like if you're using third-party calls, like you actually want to understand how long those calls actually took. And that's the great example of actually capturing it. All right, my application, you built it, but you also have to rely on third-party APIs. And this is just an example of using that. Here we're using a third-party API to generate some images.
And so when I come back here, when I'm looking at
it's a mobile
APM, well, wouldn't it be APM because it's the Node API?
Yeah. So it's the Node API, but it's both. Yeah.
Okay. Which one do you want me to look at?
Go ahead and check out the Node API because that's going to show you the route.
Okay. So this is going to give us.
Click on transactions.
Transactions. Okay.
It's not picking up anything here.
Okay.
We're using the local. Yeah. Just making sure we're not using like a remote. Like I have it hosted as well remotely. click on, yeah, this, do like a hard refresh. This is interesting. Gotta get some coffee here. There
Oh,
we
here we go.
go.
We
I'm
got
like,
something.
Jesus. All right.
Okay. So we've got transactions.
Yeah.
Am I looking for a specific one?
Go to the summary page just to,
Summary
yeah, there we
here.
go. All right. So
Okay.
it's coming in here. And if you scroll down, you'll see the actual, you'll see logs coming in. You'll see the host. Yeah. So that's the Docker host, the Docker container there. It's not picking up the, yeah, so it's still probably coming in here, but you see it's capturing logs. Click on logs. Yeah, click on that, and you'll see some logs coming in from the environment. So you see prediction.
Mm-hmm.
This is all coming from the API route. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just taking the UI some time to update. But yeah, you're seeing these are the calls that were actually in the back end.
Gotcha. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so how would we, in the interest of time, we got about probably 5-ish minutes left. How would we start taking this to sort of build a picture of what's going on in our app? So, for me, this is like, I can see what's happening here. We've got, there's some
Click
nice
on it.
highlighting. How do I start, like, as the developer, when I'm logging my Node API, when we get the mobile apps logging, what am I like? How do I start to build a mental model around using this?
Yeah. So if you click on one of these entries here,
Mm-hmm.
that'll actually highlight exactly where it came from, the log info, the source, right? So we can see the application that it came from. So this is just looking at logs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to take a 50,000 foot overview of what's going on, that's where the summary page comes in handy. Let me see if can we zoom out just a little bit here. Go in the window. Yeah, there we go. All right. So you see your golden signals across your whole API. You can see the throughput, error rates, logs that are coming in. So this is at a high level giving you an idea, like, all right, what's the performance of my backend, my
Mm-hmm.
API here? And if we swap over to the mobile view,
Mobile
I
view
think
was in
all the way,
here.
yeah, mobile right there.
Okay.
So you click into that. You might need to do another hard refresh. So by default, for development builds, it doesn't capture crashes. It would only capture that in a production environment. But
Mm-hmm.
here you would see any errors or at a high level as a mobile application, you would want to basically this is the first thing that you're going to see app launches and you're going to see the actual versions that your app is using. At the top there, you see crashes by app version. You can kind of get an idea if you make a new deployment. Is that actually impacting our actual end users, for
Gotcha.
example?
Cool.
It's just, yeah.
Yeah. So, and it looks like, we were able to build out a, like our simulator here. We were able to get some fun with the Stable Diffusion API. We were able to build out wait, no, we got to be out of there. Nope. Apparently I can't deselect, so I don't know how to. Nope. All right. Well, we live in
Go ahead and
here.
type something completely different there.
Okay. Let's see. Let's do a corgi with a top hat. And so this is really fun. We were able to do a little bit of, we got the mobile app working. We've got basic inputs and Expo and React Native make that more friendly than it would be if we were trying to write it on our own, especially for someone like me who's a React developer. I, at least mostly understand what's going on. And then with the New Relic setup here of being able to go into our API and like look at this summary to see here's what's coming in and kind of here's what the errors and the logs and all of that are. This is really handy for getting a like clear insight into what's going on into the app. And I love it. But so the nice thing about this is that for me, I like building things as like small, like microservices, basically. I like having an API that does API things, and I like having my website. I like having my scenes over here and all that. And what that means is that right now I don't have a lot of visibility into what's going on. But if I can build a dashboard where I'm pulling in the logs from my APIs, the logs from my website, the logs from my scenes, and all the other services that run the Learn with Jason Empire. And I can see not just the logs, but like what's the error rate? Are things crashing? Are a lot of people hitting this service? Do we have a huge influx in traffic somewhere where I need to be paying attention to, like, oh no, everybody's hitting this server now. Maybe I should, I don't know, add more resources, whatever it is. But that sort of visibility is really, really helpful, I think, in just, I don't know, feeling less stress overall about how I'm running applications online. But
Yeah, if you open up the navigation on the left-hand side there,
mm-hmm.
and you'll want to click on all capabilities. We haven't even scratched the surface, but if you type workloads, instead of, click on that. This is where we can create a collection, right? So if you have multiple backend APIs, front-end API, if you have synthetics, like if you want to actually test proactively your front end, you can actually group them all together, right? Just using a tag.
Nice. So and that's something that we are going to do later this week with Daniel. We're going to do some synthetics. That's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you tune in for those. And that, I think, brings us to the end of our time. So for somebody who wants to go deeper with React Native and setting it up with observability, is there a specific guide or tutorial that you would recommend we send everybody to?
Yeah, I'll post that link as well.
Okay. There's a question in the chat about which model gave us that. This is the DaVinci model, is that right?
Yeah, 3.
DaVinci 3.
So we haven't really if you look in the chat, I believe I sent you, no, I actually didn't. So that actually is using Stable Diffusion.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so we haven't even touched Open API. I can give you that. I just sent you that code there, so you can actually add that to the Open API exercise, and that can show you the response from using the DaVinci 3.0.
Do you have because I know we started from a starter repo. Do you have like the working version that I'll just link to yours instead of mine so that people can get the working version?
Yeah, I can definitely post that as well.
Okay, great. So yeah, we'll but let's grab that tutorial first so that we can get everybody set. We'll make sure that we'll make sure that there is a link in the show notes for the source code so you can go and get the working version. This is going to be your React Native setup, and the GitHub repo will follow soon. With that, I think we're going to call this one done. Ptah, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I am going to do one more quick shout out to New Relic for sponsoring this, putting together Observability Week. It's been a fun kickoff. I think we're going to have a lot of fun throughout the rest of the week as well. And also thanks to our captioning. We've had Maggie here from Whitecoat Captioning all day. Thank you so much. And that's got additional support from Netlify, NX, and Pluralsight, all kicking in to make this show more accessible to more people. And like I said, this week is Observability Week. So tomorrow we've got Matt Wilk coming in to talk about why should web developers care about logging. This is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to dig into instrumenting a T3 app. So if you've ever used Create T3 app, it's Next, TRPC, TypeScript. Can't remember what else is in it. And we're going to figure out how to put all that together. And then on Wednesday, Daniel Kim is coming in. We're going to do some location-based Next.js, and we're going to learn what the heck synthetics are. It's really cool stuff. And then on Thursday, we have Nat Allison coming in. We're going to do some generative art. This is not part of the Observability Week, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you mark your calendars. This is going to be a good week. We're going to do 4 shows in 4 days. What a party. Ptah, any parting words for the chat before we wrap it up?
Definitely roll up your sleeves and make sure you have Ruby in your environment so you can get the actual solution working. but I'll definitely follow up with the full solution. Just I have the exercise version sent out. You can post that and share that, and your audiences, they can sort of complete the exercises there. They kept them really simple and straightforward. Most of the work is already in there. It has both the API and the mobile app, so you should be able to run it. And I'll make sure I update the Docker, the Docker configs there, so that should be more straightforward and intuitive. But yeah, thank you for having me. This was amazing.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for hanging out. Chat, as always, it's been a blast. We will see you tomorrow.
Cheers.